Oh, now you're doing it.
I'm not doing it. I'm not looking at
I'm gonna go
anything.
check out Twitch.
Where are we? Where are we? Where are we? There we are.
Oh, hey.
As soon as I put my hands on, that's when it'll do the grab the screen grab.
Yeah.
I'm just like, let's make dumb faces at the beginning.
Grab that link. Put that
Backwards, I am talking. That's too loud.
there.
Oh, yeah, I should load up Audacity.
Backwards, I am talking. That's still too loud.
Are you going to go delete those Twitch streams? No?
I'm not.
Okay.
No,
I thought I
I'm
heard
not
someone
doing-
say
no,
they're going to Twitch. So,
Oh, I was just gonna watch them.
oh.
just to see us going.
Backwards, I am talking. Da, da, da.
Are you testing yourself?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Backwards, I am talking. Okay. I'm just trying to get the gain right on Audacity so it's not blowing anything out.
Hey, look, the thumbnail is me looking down at the keyboard.
Nice. Good work.
Hell
I held
yeah.
the thumbs up for like 2 minutes.
Hell
It was
yeah.
waiting until I let it go, and then it was like,
L.
Hell yeah.
I am recording.
same here.
I am
I guess
as
I
well.
So, guys, you got any good stocks I should buy?
Yeah, beef.
Yes.
And also maybe chicken.
Vegetable. Vegetable's so hot right now.
Yeah.
Hey, look, Chuck's got a heart in the corner. How'd that happen? Did I love Chuck? What happened?
love-
It's gone.
I love Chuck. I love lamb. I love desk.
Are you just looking around the studio saying things that you love?
No. I love Chuck. I love Chuck.
Don't we all?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Papa Chuck. Grandpapa Chuck.
Yeah.
It's grandpere Chuck.
Pop, pop.
I waited for the live stream to put my lips on, so, you know, there's that. So does everybody
don't
actually
even
have
put my
like a
lips
legit top five, or is it all just like, does everybody pretty much have de facto top fives?
It's mostly a de facto top 5.
Yeah.
I think my top 5 is legit.
Mine is.
I like my top 5.
I mean,
Like
my,
I had things that I had to go, nope, that's number 6.
I didn't. I mean, no. I mean, I'm just saying. I will definitely say this is not a legit top five because any other year this would not be my top five.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
going to be obvious.
I mean,
We've all
there's
kind of had to make do with a bunch of B tier.
yeah, there's 2 movies on this that would have a chance on any other year. The others are like, yeah, that's pretty good. I like that. I enjoyed watching that.
Yeah. I think a year that was supposed to have a Bond and a Ghostbusters and a Fast and Furious and
Well, Black Widow. I mean, that was the first.
Mm-hmm.
That was
Black
the first.
Widow.
That was the first casualty because that was like super early on.
a Candyman, a Saw.
Was there going to be another Marvel movie besides Black Widow? I mean, I'm not counting Morbius, which I don't know when that was ever going to come out. Or
That was supposed to come out. It was supposed to be out again already now.
yeah.
And they
Yeah,
pushed
there
it
was supposed to
again.
be something in the fall. I want to say it was like Eternals or something. One of those that nobody gives a shit about.
Well,
the
I give a shit because I mean,
the one
I
that
know.
Kumail
I mean,
is
I'm
in,
saying like
that
yeah,
he got all buff for.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's Eternals.
that is.
Yeah. I think that was originally November, and now it's not. Now it's never. Just like everything. Never happening.
I mean, I it's so stupid. Like, I think Disney would have actually had something. I don't think it would have been a thing I wanted them to have, but if they'd like put out Black Widow and charged the money for it instead of the stupid live action Mulan thing, I think
Yeah.
that model might have got some traction.
Might have worked.
Yeah, And also, I think like $30 for a rental, or no, it got added to your library. But I mean, like, if you're already a subscriber, it should have been a little bit more of a discount. I think, like,
Yeah.
try 15, 20. You know, like, because you're really just paying for early access, because you know it's coming there eventually.
BJ's got a ghost drink. The mug vanishes out of. So all it shows is you. Yeah.
Ooh,
Spooky beer.
it's boot beer.
Yep. All you gotta do is turn a little bit off, and it goes away.
Hey, Mackey's wearing his Ye Olden School BMFcast shirt.
One of the originals. It's just us that has these, right?
Yes.
It's just you three.
Oh, you don't even have one, Chuck? That was
No,
pre-Chuck?
Pre-Chuck.
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 I think I have two. I think we all got two.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
now live on our channel.
should we do this?
Oh, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
We switched up the night, messing people up.
Just trying really hard not to have another nasal attack mid podcast.
Well, I mean, for the past like 3 Wednesdays, there was chaos in the world. We shouldn't have been podcasting anyway. So
Yeah. You're probably right there, buddy.
One of those was a good chaos, but
yes.
Shall we?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ah, shitty.
Jesus Christ.
What? That was bad too. That was a good one. Come on, that was a good one.
Everyone's recording, right?
Yes. Right? Yes. Okay. All right, and welcome to the BMFcast Variety Hour.
hey,
Yeah.
yes, woo!
Variety hour.
Does this one get a number? Because I mean, this is like a special
31.
31. Sure. I mean, but it's
No,
also
we'll just call it BMFcast Variety Hour Golden Jocks Edition.
sure.
Whatever. It's episode 31.
Okay,
Stop.
it's 31 plus. We're doing the Golden Jocks. I know we didn't do like normal podcast things throughout the year, but we're still doing this because, you know, whatever.
We
reasons.
watched movies.
We did watch
Yeah.
movies.
You know what else we do?
Say our names.
Correct.
Yes, I am Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm BJ.
I'm Chuck.
Yeah, yeah.
For
We're
those,
back.
For those who, haven't been following along for
No.
however long.
We took a little.
If you're tuning in for the first time,
We took a little bit of a break. It's been a hot minute since we've had an episode, but we're back
Yeah.
to do a year-end special at the end of January because it's topical.
it's
know,
still
what-
2020.
Hey, there were things were happening. Shut up.
Mm-hmm.
We don't owe you an
Excellent point.
explanation.
Yeah. Fuck you.
Yeah, you're not my dad.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, fuck you.
Hey, fuck you.
No, wait. What are we doing? No, welcome.
Yeah.
The
Well,
opposite.
sorry.
When the eternal 2020 ends, we will get back to doing some things somewhat normally.
Right.
This is the official end of 2020 until we do no quarters when we go over.
Yeah, no
our
quarter still
2020
has to
video
wrap up
games.
2020. This is part 1 of the end of 2020.
Yeah.
I have to leave my house without being afraid of catching a disease which will make me like drown in my own lung butter. 2020 doesn't end until that's over.
Correct? You're right. But we watched movies, and most of us watched movies in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Sure.
Or in the last few hours.
Because if we had done this 3 weeks ago, it would have been like, I don't know. There were some commercials that were good.
I will say now mine are not all movies.
Well, hashtag not all movies.
Okay,
Sorry.
then.
But no, there's other stuff in there that is not movies.
I would have done that had I not found a top 5 that I was at least comfortable with saying out loud. But I think all of us can safely say that the lists this year will just be, these are not going in the record books. These are not any kind of official, like maybe a year from now when we do the 2021 Golden Jocks, we can revise our 2020 lists by saying, well, that should have been out then, and that should have been out then, and obviously that would have been there. But
Yeah, but who cares? I mean,
Yes,
what
who cares?
I'm just saying what happened, and I mean, if it's any indication, I watch basically half the movies. I usually average about a movie per week, or I have in like the last few years, I think. But yeah, I got 27 last year, and that's a year where I'm stuck at home a lot. It's just there's not a
That's
lot.
all the movies that came out, though.
Yeah,
there
I'm
just
just saying there's not a lot of like good to choose from, unfortunately. You know,
Right.
it would,
There were movies. Like
Yeah.
movies came out every fucking week, but
Right.
you look at them and you go, "Well, this is just that Lionsgate stuff."
yeah, or
Yeah,
just something that was
I
sitting
saw
on a
it-
shelf.
Yeah, I saw 22 this year, 7 of which were documentaries, if that gives you an idea.
Nice.
One of which was Artemis Fowl, another of which was Wonder Woman 84. So it's kind of like, yeah,
Yeah.
I managed
One-
11.
yeah. One of which was Hamilton, you know. No
11's
thanks.
pretty good, PJ.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I definitely fell short of my 2020s in 2020,
Yep.
but I made that promise when I still could go out to movie theaters,
Uh-huh.
had someone to watch movies with. It's a really weird thing. Like, I'll watch movies with somebody all the time. By myself, I do horrible at watching movies, but so I had somebody to watch movies with, and just
Yeah.
everything else this year.
I'll
So
say
I think
that-
11 is a triumph for me.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Aside from watching stuff with Jen, like there were 5 that we did that I watched for BMFcast as far as like, hey, our homework. So that was about as close as I get to a group movie experience right now.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's at least 5 on here, thanks to Bamfcast or Bamfcast Extra on my list. So yeah.
Yep.
So anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know. How do we want to do this? I honestly like, because this year is so fucked up. I didn't even bother to number mine. I mean, if we're gonna do like that round robin, what's your 5s? I don't know.
I have mine numbered. I can give some honorable mentions as well.
Okay.
Not
Yeah.
going to rank those, but
I'm just saying, like, I mean, this is the kind of year, like, there are 2 movies on my top 5 that would have a chance, I think, any other year. The other 3 are just ones where, like, this made me happy for an hour and a half to 2 hours. Kind of
Yeah.
is like where I'm at.
Yeah, because like I want to say specifically about my list is that the 5 movies that I have on it are movies that took me out of it the most, like movies that were just like, this is speaking to me. There's nothing else in my brain right now. I am focused on this movie. This movie rules.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a different metric for me, because like even movies I'm super engaged with during normal times will be like, I need to pause this for a second and go do something else. But like the 5 movies on my list were all like, just took me away from the world. So because I think there were probably a couple of better movies that I saw that I didn't put in my top 5 simply because they were more heavy, I guess. So, but yeah, we can go around. They don't have to be 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but
Okay.
people can say what they've got. But Mackie, if you've got
Yeah.
honorable mentions, go ahead and throw some
Honorably
out.
mention them.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I've got a few. Invisible Man is one of them. Like that's a really well put together movie, but I think Chuck and I discussed it. I can't remember if it was in Discord or on Twitter or whatever, but it's like that's a movie that just doesn't stick the landing for what it builds up to be.
No.
And it's kind of like, yeah, it's almost like a Tales from the Crypt type ending where it's like, aha, and then this. And it's like, that doesn't work that doesn't work with the way you've built up what I want to happen.
That movie builds up a bloodlust in you,
Yeah, that it
and
just
it does not
doesn't
deliver on it.
satisfy.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
just like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I guess you could do that. So-
Yeah, and Class Action Park, just for being like this fascinating, amazing thing that happened. I don't think it's like a great documentary by any means, but just the subject matter alone makes me go, holy shit. Like I want to tell people like, dude, watch this fucking thing. And last one's Borat, subsequent movie film. That is way better than it had any right to be. And of course, now because we're actually recording, I can't remember her name, but the woman who plays his daughter is just like a revelation. She just steals it completely. Like a, she's so good. It's just like a death in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. It's like whenever it's focusing on her, it's like, oh man, this is just the best stuff in the movie. And it's just interesting that, it ended up that way. And I feel like that one's going to be kind of a document of this year somewhat, because once they hit the COVID stuff, it's like, oh shit, yeah, this is 2020, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's not, and obviously in any other year, I feel like I probably wouldn't even be talking about any of these at this point, but it's 2020. So I'm talking about them as honorable mentions. Oh, and the last one, which apparently did come out in 2020, I didn't realize it, is a Beastie Boys story. That's just like it for
Oh yeah.
fans of the Beastie Boys. It's a lot of great stuff, like a lot of really great stuff and reminders of how good their music was, but I don't think it really reveals anything new. And it just kind of like fast forwards through the end of their career. I mean, the last 3 or 4 albums are just like, yeah, we made albums. And then it's like, all right. And then Mike D died. And here we go. Or sorry, MCA died. Sorry. Yeah. And that's it. It's kind of one of those that I think they're just like, yeah, we've been going on too long. So fast forward through everything else. But it's still nice and solid. It's a good watch.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Cool.
Anybody else have honorable mentions they want to honorably mention? Not even.
I do. Yeah. I mean, I do. Yeah. Because I mean.
Yeah, you saw the most of us, so yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe Chuck. I don't know if Chuck did or not. Now that I think about it.
I'm gonna blow through some that like were better, than some of the rest of the list. Because I mean, there's some real turds in this list too. But Bad Boys for Life is actually pretty solid. Entry in the Bad Boys thing. It's a dumb title, and they should have saved it, especially since it looks like they're going for another movie. But The Gentleman, I thought was real fun. It's kind of a return to Guy Ritchie stuff that you want to. Not, it doesn't have the franticness that his first 2 movies did. That nothing ever will, but it's still pretty good.
Yeah, you can't quite go back there anymore.
Yeah, in such a weird universe that was 2020, like. I feel like I almost always have a superhero movie somewhere in my list, but man, what a weird year. So, I mean, I would say I equally enjoyed, and I couldn't say one was better than the other. I kind of equally enjoyed Birds of Prey and Bloodshot the most out of the superhero genre from this year. I really liked a lot of Wonder Woman 84, but there's a lot that's like equally bad too, I feel like. Like Bloodshot and Birds of Prey are kind of like, yeah, that's what I want. I mean, it's just they're just kind of dumb and like superhero-y and like light and not 3 hours long. So what else? I liked Hamilton. I know you're like, but it's good. And
some people like it and enjoy. Not my thing.
I mean, the Old Guard's kind of my like. That's a really solid movie for like the dropped straight to video market world that we're kind of entering into. These like I think that's a pretty solid one, so it's getting somewhat of an honorable mention, because like American Pickle is like, it was cute, but like whatever, like it's easily forgettable like the day after.
Oh shit, did that come out this year?
Yep.
Yeah.
12.
12.
Yeah. I think with both of those there's a better movie in both of them.
Sure.
That just didn't get made.
Yeah, I enjoyed watching Old Guard more than a lot of these other ones, like things like that. Tenet is actually in my honorable mentions. Like, it's a fun thing to watch, but it's not, maybe I'll get there. It took me just this year to finally get to a 5-star status with Interstellar. So, give me 4 or 5 more years. Maybe I'll get there with Tenet. I don't know. And Babysitter 2, I think is the last one. Or Killer Queen, whatever. Yeah. Oh shit, Soul. Also, Soul's pretty good, but it's also not on my top 5. That's it. The rest is all like, all right, this is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying that I'm mentioning all these because they were all pretty solid, but not my top 5 stuff.
Yeah.
I'll give you my one honorable mention, which is Wonder Woman 1984, and it's really only because when you mentioned it, I remembered like how much I liked Kristen Wiig in Wonder Woman. Like, nothing else really sticks with me about Wonder Woman 84. It's fine. It's serviceable. You can watch it. Like, it's not quite Chuck Fine, but
I know these descriptors.
right. Yeah. It's
That's right. You weren't here for our discussion of it that week.
I do not think I was.
Yeah, that was one of your off weeks. Yeah.
But everything about it is fine, but Kristen Wiig turns in a better than the movie performance. Also, like I think I mentioned this when I was talking about it, but she looks amazing in that film. Like she just like it's one of those things like every once in a while Edgar Wright will take somebody like and make them look just better than they ever have before and possibly ever will again. But Kristen Wiig looks amazing in Wonder Woman 84. And yeah, and good performance. And Pedro Pascal was also a quite shiny spot in an otherwise empty room.
Yeah, he's a lot of fun.
Yeah. So, other than the movie just being, forgettable
Yeah.
for the rest of it, like when either one of those two was on screen, it was worth paying attention to. That's all I got for honorable mentions.
Cool.
Chuck?
Nothing
No.
has honor to Chuck.
No, I've got like 10 movies that are all in that like 3.5 star range, and
Yeah.
to separate any of them out over any of the others is
Oh, you don't want to make a big list like I just did? Yeah.
No.
Okay. I'm just saying,
No,
sky's the
I
limit,
mean-
Macho Man. Let's go for it.
I mean, I thought the direct to like Netflix stuff things that we watched, like the Old Guard and the Extraction,
Yeah, like and Spencer.
Spencer Confidential.
Spencer Confidential, those were all entertaining, but they just had that like half of this is entertaining, the other half is like, oh, this is the
Yeah.
most boring. Like,
Like,
you haven't
I've-
quite.
Yeah, I've forgotten most of Spencer Confidential, but I know
Yeah.
if they got those two back together and made another movie, I would watch it the day it comes out. And then I would forget most of what happened in that until they do a third one. I'd be like, you know what? Hey, those Spencer guys, bring them back.
I don't think
And
it's
I would
even
watch it again.
I don't think it's even as good as them, but like I put it in the same kind of camp with like the Equalizer movies, where like every once in a while you come across somebody you're like, man, I love and watch the Equalizer movies all the time. You're like, really? Like like they're okay. I mean, like over and over. Like, yeah,
I really liked when I watched those Equalizer movies, but as soon as they were over, never thought about
right.
them
That's
again.
what I mean. It's like they're a real good like, oh, let's put this on and watch it, and like, okay,
Yeah.
I have now seen that.
Yep.
Moving on.
Don't need to own that.
Yeah.
So
Hey, I have breaking news. I
Go
forgot
on.
about the Old Guard, which makes 13. I looked through the 2020
You need
American
Letterboxd,
movies list.
dude.
I have Letterboxd. I thought I would.
You need to
What I-
use Letterboxd.
That's true. I'm pretty sure that I marked the Old Guard on Letterboxd, but I went through the movies released in 2020 list on Wikipedia like 10 times in the last 2 weeks at least, and wrote everything I saw that I recognized down. So maybe there's more that I missed.
the Old Guard is not a memorable title.
No, it is not.
Like
But
I remember scrolling to it on the list and then like, what is that? And then looked over. It's like, oh right, that thing.
So,
So-
I know Letterboxd is cool, but I also don't think it's like a super huge site. I mean, I think it does all right, but I don't think it's like IMDb level. But how cool would it be if like you could get a little Letterboxd app on your Roku, Apple TV, whatever thing that scrabbled movies as you watch them, or whatever, and just automatically like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
you finished watching that, like check.
Bring back
Like,
Scrobbling.
yeah, how
want to
great would that be?
scrabble.
Yeah, well, whatever. You can call it whatever you want. I just like,
I know. We're going to call it Scrobbling. You son of a bitch.
well, okay, then
Dare suggest we say anything
sorry,
else.
better call Last.fm if they still exist and get permission.
They don't.
No, they do not.
They're gone.
Oh,
Scrabble
well,
is up for grabs.
Scrobbling died with them. Let's revive it.
All right, so top fives.
yeah.
Yes.
Sorry, I wanted to interject that the Old Guard isn't quite an honorable mention, but I still really want them to do a like a mini series or an HBO series or
I'd
something.
watch another one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's what
Same
I
with
was saying.
Spencer Confidential.
It's just it's like it's an interesting enough premise that I'm like, yeah, okay, that's good entertainment.
All right.
Who wants to go first? Chuck, you didn't have any honorable mentions. Why don't you go?
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll
you
go
haven't
first.
talked about any movies yet, Chuck.
Okay, well here we go. I'm going to talk about a movie. Number 5 on my list is Freaky. The dude who makes these movies speaks to me. He is able to take a gimmicky premise and make it last throughout the entire film and not wear it out. And that takes talent. Also, to make a Blumhouse movie that doesn't suck, because oh my god, Blumhouse this year has been fucking trash. Like, I went through and watched like 4 or 5 Blumhouse movies and was like, oh, all these are fucking terrible. But Freaky is really good. Freaky, like, when I went into it, it seemed like it was going to be one of those movies with teenagers that I hate, but they very quickly become endearing, and that helps along the way, because I was on their side and was worried about their safety throughout the film. Like, oh no, please don't let anything happen to these characters. But the premise is fun, and even though Vince Vaughn in the real world is kind of a piece of shit, Vince Vaughn in movies continues to delight me in everything that he does, and his performance in this is really good. I always feel like I have to give people extra credit when you're like, you're being a good sport about this. You're probably a bigger star than this movie deserves, but you're going for it, and I appreciate that. It's fun. It's just a really fun, dumb horror movie that's not way over the top, although the violence is way over the top. It's fun. It's a goofy premise, and they pulled it off.
So wait, are we doing going around thing? 'Cause like I said,
Sure.
I'm gonna have to slap some numbers on these damn things. Then I guess I don't know.
Put them in
up to
whatever
you,
order
man.
you want.
All right,
We can do the around thing, but you don't have to put a number on it. In fact,
that's fine. I got them numbered. It's fine. I can do this.
so what order are we going?
Oh,
Yeah, why don't you go ahead, Harlow?
Okay. Then I guess for me, for number 5, I'm going to slot in Bill and Ted Face the Music. That's just one of those things that shouldn't work that totally works for me. Long dead sequel revamp things like that tend to not go so well. And that one just kind of like rides a really good line of like nostalgia, but also being its own thing. And I had a lot of fun with it. So I like the new kids, their kids, yeah.
Bill and Ted.
Yeah. I mean, one of them is Samara Weaving, who's been in fucking everything. Like,
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, it's like, yeah, they're great, and yeah, I thought the movie was a lot of fun. It's just like I said. I think I said before. It's rare that like Tron Legacy and this, there's so few that like just kind of pick up where they left off and like do it well. And like you didn't just skip 30 years.
Right.
Yeah. I can second that, because that's my number 5 is Bill and Ted Face the Music. I don't know if it benefits it or hurts it that I watched all 3 in a row. It helps a lot of the jokes, like the callbacks. There's not a ton. It's not like the movie's like, hey, remember this, remember that. But, stuff like Missy marrying Ted's younger brother and just shit like that.
Yeah. There's pretty much
If
the
I
only place
hadn't
you
watched
could go.
it, I would have been like, that's weird. But then, yeah. But, it was not quite what I was expecting. I like that all 3 of them, none of them tread the same ground. They're all doing something very different from each other, which I like a lot. And this one is just, by the end, the ending shouldn't work for someone as cynical as I can be, but the ending really worked for me for that movie. Like, it's just one of those where I was like, this is great. Like, this is really great. It made me feel good. And, that's a nice thing to have in a year like 2020 was, where it's just something positive and something, that, I mean, early on, the movie is really about like, I guess the way to put it is like dreams having an expiration date, and you don't find out what the expiration date is until you passed it. And that's kind of how it feels with Bill and Ted. And that's why this works as a, one of those, this is a 30 years later movie, because it's kind of, taking the time that they've lost and, finding a way to have them reflect on it somewhat, even though these are basically just goofball characters that were always presented as having like really large vocabularies and stuff, which was always interesting to me, is that, they're not, they may use surfer talk and that sort of dumb shit, that everyone thinks about, but they also had, they were actually like pretty smart in their own way, even though they really, they'd walk into some dumb shit.
Yeah, it's
And
the Clueless model. I mean, like
yeah.
they're all way smarter than they should be in Clueless, but they also still just say the dumbest shit. So
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, it's a movie that works, and it should not have, but yeah, like all the new additions were great, and yeah, it ends well, which is more than I can say for a lot of other movies. So yeah.
BJ, is it your number 5?
It is not, because I did not watch it this year.
Mm.
Sorry.
It's okay.
It's weird. Um, well, just remembering a couple of these movies that I didn't think I watched this year or last year makes me want to rethink my list, but I'm just going to go with my gut. Coming in at number 5 for me is Tenet. I honestly feel like in a better year for movies, Tenet would not make a top 5 even for me, even for a like, you know, even for seeing 13 movies, I feel like it would be easy to knock Tenet out of the top 5.
It's that kind of year, man.
Well, Tenet's that kind of movie. It's less a like an indictment of 2020 and more an indictment of Tenet, which is not bad. Like I don't think that Tenet is a bad movie at all. It is fine. Like it goes from point A to point B and back to point A and back to point B and then back to point A again.
I was going to say, I think it goes A to B and then B to A and then A to B and then B
Right.
to A.
Right. Thanks for making the joke that I just made.
Did you? I mean, I feel like you said A to B and then A to B again. And I don't know.
Oh no, you just weren't paying attention. It's fine.
That's fine.
But
I just fell asleep somewhere in the middle of you talking.
it's fine. I understand. I have that effect on usually that effect on women, but so everything in Tenet just works fine, and it's a decent 3.5-star action movie, but I don't think there's anything special about it. Like
That's the problem with it.
Christopher
there should
Nolan,
be something special about
right?
it.
Christopher Nolan is supposed to everybody like wholesale sucks his dick because his movies are cerebral and they're shot amazingly. This is just a nice looking action movie that has some time travel in it. I didn't really catch a whole lot of the zeitgeist around Tenet. I just kind of ignored it when it came out because I'm not really a big Chris Nolan guy. But I don't know. I feel like people were saying that like, oh my God, Tenet's one of those. I'm going to watch it 1,000 times and maybe one day I'll get it. And I thought to myself immediately after finishing Tenet, like, am I too stupid to not get Tenet? Like, am I too dumb to be the dumb guy that doesn't get Tenet? Because I get it. Like, everything made sense to me the first time through. I got it all. Like, I picked up on the stuff that they pointed out. I remembered from an hour ago the thing that they showed me an hour later in reverse or whatever. Like, and they also spent 90 minutes talking about everything that was going on in the universe. So I don't know if people were confused by it, but I certainly wasn't, and I am worried that I'm too dumb to not be confused by it. But talking all of that shit, it's fine. It's a good, it's a good couple hours of nice looking action when it gets down to the action and isn't, some guy sitting in a car talking about how you go backwards in time. There's a lot of backhanded compliments about Tenet, but I think, you get a little forehand, a little backhand, and a little forehand and a little backhand, a little forehand.
Yes.
Just to make that joke a third time.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
Good job.
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, so number 4 on my list is Color Out of Space. Color Out of Space is the H.P. Lovecraft Nicolas Cage movie.
Wait, that was this year?
Yeah, it played festivals in 2019. I'm not counting that shit.
Okay, no, I was trying to make a list. I don't think I ever watched it, but I was like scrolling through and I was like, oh well, I already missed, that last year, so I don't have to watch.
Right.
I don't have to cram for this one.
Yeah, from the director of Hardware.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah,
I'm glad I skipped it then.
it is better than Hardware. It's way better than Hardware. It is a trip. I mean, it is a thing. It is just a movie that is weird and dark but colorful as shit. Um so it's streaming on Shudder if you have the Shudder horror movie service. However, if you have the means of playing a 4K Blu-ray disc, please get the 4K Blu-ray disc because this is a gorgeous movie. Um it is weird and dreamlike and just trippy as hell. This story was made at least once before. It was made in the 80s with Mr. Will Wheaton. Um, it's weird how completely different they are, yet almost exactly the same. It's such a strange phenomenon to watch a movie where you're like, okay, obviously this is not going to be that because that was weird, and everyone said that's not a good adaptation of this story. And then you watch this and go, this is kind of the exact same thing. Nicolas Cage invokes his Vampire's Kiss character a few times throughout this film, which was odd that happens.
Is
But
that
it
the one
makes
where he
for
just
some.
does the blubbery boohoo crying thing? Is that Vampire's Kiss? I don't know.
Well, he's doing a weird voice in Vampire's Kiss, and he
Oh.
does that voice here. First, kind of mocking the memory of his father, who apparently talked like that, and then that character kind of starts talking like that and being even weird. It's a good weird Nicolas Cage performance. There are good freakouts, but it is a better movie than that. It is not just a here's Nicolas Cage being a weirdo. The movie surrounding it is also pretty damn good. It's not a straightforward movie. It's not a movie that's going to be like this is what's going on. It's just kind of a dreamlike trip, and it's very interesting and fascinating. So.
Cool. Did we end up? Are we going around the circle as I'm seeing it? Is that how the stream's going?
You go after Chuck.
We're
Huh?
going around in typical around the table order.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
Chuck,
does
Harlow,
oh.
Mackie, me.
Okay. All right. So I guess my number 4, I'm gonna go with Freaky. Like Chuck said, yeah, it's just that guy kind of gets me. I don't think this is as good as either of the Happy Death Day movies. It's it's more by the numbers, sort of. I mean, it's not because it's also just like stupid and silly and full of like more clever things than you probably should have in a dumb premise movie like this. But the other ones are like getting to be like weird heady things where it's like, what the fuck is happening? Like the other ones are probably take like a string board to string together the storyboards and stuff. Whereas
The
this
second
is,
one especially.
yeah, and this one's just like, yeah, whatever. It's like it's this and this, and yeah, you get it, right? like, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I was just saying, this is like a very traditional, like, okay, yeah, there's not going to be any like weird surprises in this one. We know what we're getting. But yeah, this guy kind of gets me, and I that's my top 5 is pretty much just mostly filled with things that I could watch on repeat that make me smile. I know this is a dumb slasher horror movie thing, but it's also very silly and not scary at any point in time.
Oh, no.
Actual scary at all. So
No, it's very interesting.
right.
And well put together.
Yeah. Next.
All right.
Mackie.
My number 4 is Soul, which, I guess 2 movies about the power of music or whatever in a row, but for me. But yeah, Soul, just, Pixar just knows how to tug at the heartstrings properly and make you feel the things that they want you to feel. And I mean, it would be higher if the second act was less, oh yeah, this is a kids movie. We got to do kids movie shit, and kind of stays there for a little too long for my taste. But I mean, the first and the third act are so strong in that movie that I was like, okay, yeah, I'm on board with all of this. And it's just one of those cases too where they just continue to get fantastic performances out of their voice actors, and obviously their character designs pull that out as well. and really sell the voice acting work, and the voice acting work sells the animation. So yeah, it's a really, again, it's one of those movies that just like the endings, you're like, that's really nice. I like where this ended up. And I was all about that.
How fucked up is it? Like the greatest escape you could have in 2020 was just finding something nice. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, like like we've turned into like we want parents movies. Just make it nice. like when it's all over, I just want to be happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I know.
It's
I
like,
get it.
yeah, and it's like thinking of the year before. It's like, yeah, man, Upgrade. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Check out Upgrade.
Yeah, the
It's
dude like
that's-
punches somebody through the dick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like,
They
give
were
us
like,
something-
why was there so much dick punching in this? That didn't make me happy.
Give us something that we can get lost in 2020. Everybody needs an escape.
yeah.
Well, I got good news for you guys. We're at least closing in on some consensus.
Okay.
Are we?
Yeah. Because Freaky makes number 4 for me.
Yeah.
It's very much in the vein of like Tucker and Dale versus Evil. That's what it was called, right?
Yeah.
Not exactly, but the sort of goofy horror comedy, there's something about that that's really connecting with me. And I really liked, and I meant to look up the actress's name beforehand, but the lead actress is phenomenal. She's really, really good.
Catherine Newton.
Catherine Newton, thank you.
Sure.
She's
on
fantastic.
Ozark.
Okay. But she's really fantastic. Both Vince Vaughn and Catherine Newton are really good in the swapped portion of the movie. Like they just nail it. Like Vince Vaughn is maybe a little generic for like generic girl, but we don't get a whole lot of time to spend with each character. Like, it's not like in the Harry Potter movie where you have Hermione and Bellatrix swapped, and we know those characters well enough to see that the acting is really like superb. So it's good, but it's not like it's not like out of this world, but it's good enough to sell it really well for me. And watching Vince Vaughn like prance around is really, really funny. But all in all, it's good. I watched it because like Harlow said something nice about it in the chat, and I was like, fuck it, I'll give it a shot. Like I don't have any like nothing else is catching my eye on the 2020 list. Like nothing else jumped out at me and said, hey, watch this in that moment. So I popped it on, and I'm really glad I did because I really, really enjoyed it.
Have you watched The Happy's Death Day?
No, I have not watched the Happy Death Days yet.
Next up.
You should now. Yeah.
Okay. Similar? Like in tone?
I mean,
okay.
yeah. I mean, it's the same director, so tonally, but
Okay.
what's happening is vastly different, obviously.
Right.
Yes.
Right. I assume
Yeah.
that much. But yeah, it was a very pleasant surprise. And there are a couple things in the beginning of the movie that are shockingly gory. Like I
Yeah.
did not expect them to be what they were. And also one of the funniest kills I've seen that wasn't Jason smashing smashing a frozen head. Like
Oh, the sleeping bag kill is still my
Yeah, the
personal
sleeping
favorite.
bag is my favorite too.
That's
I-
just the best.
I
Well,
yeah.
love shattering liquid nitrogen shit. Sure. But I'll just say the one on the tennis court. Just
Yeah.
I loved that. It was so stupid. But also, why the fuck not? It was great. I would watch that. Like I could put that kill on a loop in my house, like in a frame. It was very.
Well, if
enjoyable.
you like
So,
death loops, no,
Yeah.
may I suggest Happy Death Day?
I will put those on the list. Thank you for suggesting it. It's the horror movie that I've watched this year now. So,
Cool.
nailed it.
I'm with you, Harlow, on that scene of kind of the sweet, nice moment in the dressing room, and then immediately just like, here, put this dumb disguise on. I'm like, the fuck is this? Like, why does this mask even exist?
Yep. Yeah.
So dumb. Okay, my number 3 is Unhinged. Big fat Russell Crowe shark movie, except there's no shark. It's just Russell Crowe being an asshole.
All
Chasing
right.
this lady in his truck. That movie's so much fun. That movie's just a throwback to like the Hitchhiker or the Hitcher and just those kinds of movies of just like, well, you flashed your lights on this car that was driving down the dirt road. You shouldn't have done that. Now you got to pay. You know, it's just that premise, and it's fun as shit.
Yeah, the way you described it seemed a lot to me like Crawl, where it's just like, all right, this is happening, and in 90 straight minutes of we're doing this,
Yeah.
and then it is over.
Yes.
I don't know. That's one of the ones I crammed for, and I couldn't quite go with you. I mean, it didn't even make my honorable mentions, unfortunately. Like, that to me is just the wrong movie for now. Like, that's the opposite of what I've been talking about, because it's sort of like, well, fuck all of y'all, but also like not this much. Like, you know, like
I mean,
I don't know.
yes, in a way. I appreciate the things it does along the way.
sure, yes,
Like the way that movie takes care of a situation where they're trying to flag down a cop on the highway. The result of that scene made me audibly gasp. Like I just went, oh my god.
no, I gotta say I was definitely not prepared for the production value in that movie, given it was
Exactly,
was
yeah.
a fat Russell Crowe only starring vehicle.
Right.
But you know, like I'm just saying,
They
like,
rustled up a crow.
yeah, but yeah, it was the wrong movie for me right now. The only thing I want to say, and I'm sorry I didn't mean to like interrupt your praising of the movie,
No,
but last
no,
thing I want
that's
to say, having watched it just because
Uh-huh.
it was part of my cram session, was for whatever reason I didn't sit there and watch it all, but I left the credits playing while I got up and like do some other things, but I was still in the room, and then like I realized like I was watching the very end of the credits, and like I actually caught myself going like, what the fuck do you think's going to happen? Like Michael Douglas is going to show up and recruit him for like the Psycho Avengers. You know, come on,
Yes.
we're all falling down now. Want my goddamn cheeseburger at 10:31.
Yeah, no,
Whatever.
there's not going to be a sequel to this.
No, I mean, well, yes, it doesn't work for either one of those, so it's doubly dumb. Sorry, spoilers, but I think you could probably figure that fuck out.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you've seen a movie.
I mean, I agree. It's mean spirited, and you know, is one of those things that like maybe before 2020 we're like, yeah,
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was watching this, I was like, man, if it wasn't like now, I think I might like this more. But right now, I'm just like, ugh.
I was just delighted that it was doing the things that I want a movie to do and actually pulling it off and not being like, that's unfortunate, you fucked that up.
Well, I think the thing that pissed me off is it's like sort of like falling down, where you're like, you know, Russell Crowe makes some good points, but also, no, absolutely fucking not. Like, where you're like, yes, you should probably roll down your window and yell at people that are like texting on their phone and stuff, but also like, don't murder them. Like, it's just like, you know, like it's. I just
Went
both
without
sides.
saying.
I just hate like, you know, this like in between where it's like, oh, your villain like has the points of view that are probably right, but also they're bad. Like, you know, it's like, yeah, but I don't know, fuck it.
Anyway, that's my number 3.
Anyway,
sure.
Chuck likes that movie.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Sorry, unhinged.
Breaking
is
news,
a
you
thing.
guys.
Yeah.
Fat Russell Crowe fat old Russell Crowe reminded me of old Mel Gibson, which reminded me that we watched an old Mel Gibson movie this year. So we're on 14.
Oh, you forgot Force of Nature?
Yeah.
Oh,
How
I
could
just shit.
forget Force
I
of
didn't put
Nature?
Force of Nature on mine, so yeah.
Why would any of you put Force of Nature on yours?
No, I mean, I didn't even
It's
put it
on
on.
the
I didn't even put it on the
2020
list, like
Oh, okay.
having seen it, because
Oh,
it
yeah.
didn't even
We all
register.
saw it. We all saw it.
Unacknowledged.
Well, okay, so I also realized I didn't put like any of these documentary things on there or anything either. So
14, you guys. I'm doing great. I'm
You
only
get to 20 by the time the show's over.
if we, I
We're
might
just going
make
to keep
it, man.
reminding you of stuff you've watched.
Yeah.
All right, Harlow.
oh, is it back to me? Sorry.
Yep.
Okay, number 3 for me. Man, somewhere in the course of this show, I have switched my number 2 and 3 from where we started talking, and I'm going number 3 is Invisible Man. Invisible Man was my number 2, but you know what? Like, you're right. Well, so like I saw Invisible Man like right as lockdown started happening, so I wasn't into like fuck everything or like I was like fully like angry at everything. I was like, this will be over by Easter. Like there's some people are saying, but they didn't say which Easter. But yeah, I mean like I really enjoyed it at the time. I'm saying if I had watched Invisible Man in the last 6 months, I probably would not have been on board with it as I was at the time. And yeah, I mean, in a similar vein of like, I mean, that one's probably even worse than like Unhinged, as in terms of like poor woman in danger, because I mean, it's like, she's been in a shit situation for a long ass time, and it's not just like I'm having a bad day and Fat Russell Crowe's here. It's like it's like shitty all around for her. But I just think that movie's like exceptionally well made and whatnot. And even if it doesn't stick the landing fully, I was super on board with like how that movie looked and was made. So, like I said, it just dropped to number 3 because
Yeah,
it's
that
not
movie's
it's not
really
sparking
good at-
joy or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that movie's really good at putting you in the protagonist's
Yeah.
shoes.
Yeah.
Because I was just like enraged by by midway through that movie. I was just man, I want to destroy everything.
I do appreciate when dude remembered that he directed Upgrade and then put that shot in the film of Upgrade camera works shit, and I was like, oh right, this guy directed Upgrade.
Yeah,
because there was none of that until this one scene. So yeah.
All right, my number 3 is not a movie. It's a documentary. It's The Last Dance, which anyone who listened over the summer knows.
Oh yeah.
I give weekly recaps, but yeah, that's one of those documentaries that just proves time travel is possible, and it's through that because so much of that footage placed me directly in those times, and the use of music and just everything was so well done that it's almost a shame that they made them push it another 2 hours, because I believe it was originally only going to be 8 hours and they pushed it to 10. And by the end, like the last episode is almost like, man, aside from that last montage that they do, that's really, really, really good. The one to the Pearl Jam song, like it's kind of like, yeah, you guys are definitely out of gas at this point, aren't you? But otherwise, man, like what a nostalgia trip. What a, just, and what a well put together thing with just some really, really great interviews. Like you see how many memes came out of those interviews, and that's how you know that they were just like getting gold like almost every time. And like just handing Michael an iPad and watching him react to somebody else's interview will never get old to me. And him just still talking shit about all these guys, just being like, yeah, fuck him too. Just so good. That's the Michael Jordan I want, not the corporate one. I want the fuck them kids, Michael Jordan. That's what I want. And I got it.
Oh yeah, I've been playing so much the NBA 2K21 game, and one of the recurring things that keeps coming up, because when you play any of those sports games enough, you start hearing like the same commentary over and over eventually. But one of them is like, I think they're asking Grant Hill, who's one of the commentators on it, what was it like playing against like the 90s Bulls or something. Like he's like, I don't know, it's pretty much like playing any other team except for one little thing. There was that guy that was wearing a pesky 23 or something, like wouldn't even call him by name. It was just just the way he phrases it. It's just like, we're going to talk around Michael because I don't want to talk any shit about him. So just someone will hand him an iPad and be like, look what he said in this game.
Yeah. Well, there was a game I think it was like 2 weeks ago, where I forget who it was, but they were playing the Lakers and they lost, and they interviewed this guy who scored like 45 points and they still lost. And they're like, yeah, what do you think the difference was? And he's like, we don't have LeBron. And like, that was his response. And it feels like there's so many like that with Jordan, where it's just like, yeah, how'd you lose? We played Michael Jordan. Thanks. Yeah, but it's 10 hours worth of 90s basketball. So that phrase alone should let you know whether you're in or not.
AKA best kit ball.
Yep, exactly.
I guess it's my turn. So coming in at number 3 for me, Bad Boys for Life. So I did some homework because I hadn't seen either Bad Boys in at least a decade.
Wow.
Yeah, it had been a lot. Oh boy. Um,
Bad Boys 2.
Bad Boys 2.
Bad Boys 2.
Bad Boys 2 is a Fast and Furious prototype movie.
Yep.
Like it's a Fast 5 slash Fast 6.
Yep.
Bad Boys for Life, again, to nod to Harlow, yes, they absolutely named it incorrectly. This should have been Bad Boys 3.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
I mean, if it's been the final one and they were like, "Yeah, we're too old for this shit. It's over." That's fine. But I mean, they immediately greenlit 4. Like, it's like, "Fuck you guys!" Like, what the hell?
That's exactly it. Like, so dumb. But okay, so Bad Boys 1 is really good. Bad Boys 2 is, like I said, prototypical Fast 5, Fast 6. Bad Boys for Life is, you can't go back again almost. It's still good, but that movie, they made that movie in 2006 and released it in 2020. It is just, everything about it feels exactly like Bad Boys 2. That was probably my phone vibrating. But like not in all the fuck yeah ways that Bad Boys 2 is. Like it's not.
It very much feels authentic to that universe.
Yes.
Like it doesn't
100%.
feel like someone, even though it is other people coming in and making a Michael Bay movie, it doesn't feel out of that universe. It doesn't feel like I don't know what you're going. It feels like okay, now they're old, but it's still Miami, and Miami's awesome, and let's
Yeah.
go.
I would say it feels like it's in the Michael Bay universe, but like it's sped down to the age that they are now, like
Yes.
appropriately.
The filmmaking matches their
Right.
age.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little slower. And the whole like, all the young kids on the team thing, that shit is so tired, man.
So the Expendables 3 it.
Yeah, kind of like all the new kids, well, at least a couple of the new kids are like, fuck you, old man. The old man's like, fuck you, kids. Or Will Smith, the old man. But like, that's such a tired ass trope. However, it's still Bad Boys 2.5. So it's still pretty fucking good. Like it captures some of the magic. Will Smith is still fully capable of being an action star. Martin Lawrence is not. Martin Lawrence has never been an action star or capable of being an action star, but he's made a a sidekick to Will Smith. He was pretty good sidekick to Will Smith in Bad Boys 1 and 2. Martin Lawrence would be really mad at me probably for saying that he's Will Smith's sidekick, but that's okay. He can chase me.
He was billed above Will Smith in at least the first one, I think. I think he was top billing in the first
I
one.
wouldn't be surprised.
Well,
But
the first Bad Boys is before Independence Day and everything, right? I mean, that's like, is
Yeah.
that his first movie, or did he do? I mean, I think he did 6 Degrees of Separation.
Yeah, he had
right?
done 6 Degrees
Yeah.
first.
yeah. But man, it's still good. Like it's still got a lot of, like I said, Bad Boys 2 charm, and it's got Bad Boys 2 style. It just doesn't quite have Bad Boys 2 substance or longevity.
It is an
pretty good.
age-appropriate one of those movies.
I guess, and that
Like-
makes it lesser.
Because yes, but they are not asking those two to do more than they should be doing. They're asking them to do the right amount of what they're doing. But the thing about that is that it feels a little sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's. I think way back when I first saw it, I remarked that like one of its biggest strengths is that the movie's kind of grounded. Like but also it's ridiculous too. But it's like, you kind of get that, like, I think this was one of the first times where I was like, yeah, you might be like should retire. Like, like maybe you should be 1 week from retirement. Like, I'm feeling your pain, man. Like,
Yeah.
like,
It's got gravity.
Yeah.
Which is good for a movie, bad for Bad Boys, I think.
Sure.
This, although, like, they should have made Bad Boys 3 in 2008.
Yeah.
No later than 2008. They should have made Bad Boys 3. This being Bad Boys for life, if this had been the cap to the adventure, would have loved it. I really liked it instead.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Bad Boys for life. We get Bad Boys 5 life in next year.
They're probably just going to keep making Bad Boys movies now. It's just going to be, these are never going to stop.
Jaden Smith, Bad Boys 7.
Bad Boys 4, taking the fifth.
Bad and boisious. Bad and boisterous.
well, they're going to go on to make 50 of them, and they'll make number 5 called Bad Boys 5-0. And then when they get to 50, they'll be like, I don't know.
It'll just be Bad Boys 50.
Yeah.
Was it just me, or was there a scene early in this movie where they start doing the camera swirl thing, like the whole shit just got real, but no one says anything? Like, they do this dramatic, like, what the fuck is happening? But like neither of them say anything, and it's like, what are you doing? You were trying to do the thing. Like, why did you not do the thing? I feel like after the first action sequence, they did that, and I was like, oh, how are they gonna
shit just got more real.
Yeah, but they don't. So, okay, my number 2 is a BMFcast Extra movie. It is Underwater. I'm not going to talk.
Two.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about it much because we talked about it for an hour on BMFcast Extra. But it is a good Leviathan.
Ooh, okay.
So it is a dope ass underwater monster movie, with legit like safety concerns. Like,
Okay.
the cast was in danger, the characters are in danger.
Yeah.
All of it. It's like people might die making this movie. So it's neat. It's real neat, and underwater monster movies are my jam. The problem is that they're not very good. This one is pretty good. So that's all.
Okay. All right. Well, my number 2, right? We're on number 2. Yes.
Yes.
Number 2. My number 2. I've done a lot of switching around at the last minute. I'm going with Palm Springs for number 2. I liked Palm Springs a lot. I don't think Palm Springs was quite the Baby Driver to me as it was to Becky, but it's still very enjoyable. Yeah, number 2 is still a good spot, and I know it's going to get talked about more by people that possibly like it even more than me, so I will just shut up and say I really like Palm Springs. I don't internet hate it. Leave me alone.
It's fine.
Runner up,
Runner
a.k.a. the worst.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. My number 2, again, not a movie, but it is Mandalorian season 2. Gets my golden jocks.
That's
because it's basically the best Star Wars thing since the original Star Wars, like since the original trilogy it is. And the season 2 kept that quality up. Season 1, I felt there was only one really dud episode, and this season did not have any. And I don't even give a shit about they were just setting up a different series. I don't care. Every episode was a solid, awesome Star Wars thing that was exactly what I wanted. I don't have problems with what happened in the last episode. I know the internet's kind of split on that, but I was totally cool with it. Effects still not great, but whatever, It's
Wait, there are people not cool with it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the internet, Chuck. Forget about it.
I understand. It seemed like it was catering to the internet.
Well, a lot of it was also like it could have been done in a different way. And I'm talking around this because, it's kind of a big deal when it happens, but it could have been done in a different manner that I wouldn't have had any problem with whatsoever either. So, but either way, like, I guess my only concern now is like where the series goes from here.
Right.
Because if it's all about like, the culture and who controls all the tribes or whatever, like I'm out. Like, or I won't say I'm out, but I just like, that's not what I want at all. And
Yeah,
I
if
just
it's
hope it doesn't go there after, two just really just amazing seasons of television.
yeah, if it was building to that kind of lore kind of stuff, that's the stuff I'm least interested in.
Yeah.
Like I like the space western doing chores for people and getting something out of it and moving on to the next thing.
Yeah.
So
But
it's funny because like we just finished watching it like this past weekend or so, and like right when it ended, my wife was like, "Is the show over?" Because it's kind of an ending. You're like, "Well, is that it?"
Mhm.
Seems like it's it. They wrapped
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah, and they also my only real I think there's literally one misstep in the entire season. Literally one, and it's something they do in the 9th episode that they should have saved for the 10th episode.
Okay.
And it lessens the impact of when it happens again in the 10th episode. And it's like, damn, like you blew it. Like you had it's almost like Gremlins, it's like you showed the cabinet gremlin before you showed the kitchen gremlin. Like swap them. Like this is what you want to happen at this point. You don't need it in the earlier point, and that's the only thing they mess up. But aside from that, just everything I want out of a Star Wars show. Like they fucking nailed it.
Yeah,
I-
that's
I want to say this real quick to the power of that last episode because this has never happened to me before. We're sitting there watching it and the ending is happening, and that's all I'm going to say about the specifics of the ending of the final episode of the season. My watch goes off with a heart rate alert. Like, dude, your heart is racing, and I was that has literally never happened to me before, and I was like, well, this must be something pretty good because I'm dying for it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's the Star Wars thing you want.
Mm-hmm.
if I was including episodics on my list, that would probably be number one.
Same.
It's the best Star Wars thing to come out in 30 something years, and I like the sequels. I really like the sequels way more than most people, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Everybody loves Bill Burr in season 2. Like,
Yeah.
how the fuck do you do that? How do you make this space Boston asshole a lovable character?
You give him a redemptive arc.
Because you
Yeah.
make him hate Nazis, and then it's all of a
Yeah.
sudden like,
Yeah.
yeah all right.
I mean,
Oh
fair.
yeah, they do
Like-
talk about themselves, but they were the first to say, "Hey, fuck you, England."
It works because they have him do what everyone wants a character to
Yeah.
do that they never do in Star Wars.
Yes.
They just never straight up do that, and they let
Yeah.
him do that.
Yep.
Yeah, that was just a master stroke, and yeah, Mandalorian is great. I don't care where they go with the next season because I've had 2 incredible seasons of television, and if they fumble the 3rd season, or if it never comes out, or if the spin-offs suck, I got 2 amazing seasons of television and some of the best Star Wars content that I'm going to see. So
Yeah. And I'll
before I
say-
died of COVID.
Yeah, and I'll say I felt the same way going from John Wick 2 to John Wick 3. They're like, everyone's an assassin. I don't know. That's going to be kind of bullshit. And you know what? John Wick 3 was fucking awesome. So I hope I'm wrong in the exact same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
Yeah.
too. All right.
Maybe we just get a time jump, and it's Grogu is like now older. I don't know. They seem to age really, really fucking slowly. So,
talk.
well, yeah, I mean, you can talk and actually do some like Jedi flipping shit. I don't know, whatever. Yeah.
So
I
he's
mean, just,
teenage
they could,
Groot
but
now.
maybe both be badasses is what I'm trying to say. Like maybe get some skills. and then,
buddy cops.
right? Yeah.
Teenage
space buddy
Jedi Mando
Yeah.
Grogu. Teenage Jedi Mando Grogu. Yeah, that's what I want.
Okay, yeah, that works. Okay.
Where he's like going through like
Come on, Mando. I don't want to.
Grogu puberty, and he's like, "Oh, Dad, I hate you."
Out of my room, you will get. God, myself, I was touching.
I loved the meme that was like, something about when Grogu says his second word and then his first word, like, yeah, love it.
Nice.
It was very good. So, rolling along into my number 2 pick is one I just watched today on recommendation of Mr. Harlow. I'm looking at the Zoom view, so he's over here for me and
Oh, okay.
up above you. But Love and Monsters. I heard nothing about it. I don't know when it came out. Harlow mentioned it, and I was like, something about that movie really struck him. I think I shall watch it as well. I have a couple hours before the show starts. And something about that movie really caught me too. I don't know any of the actors' names except for, I don't even remember his name right now, but Yondu.
Michael Rooker.
I cannot
Michael
ever
Rooker.
remember. Michael Rooker. Yeah.
It's the main kid is the Maze Runner kid, Dylan O'Brien. He was in the
Okay.
Maze Runners.
Oh,
Dylan O'Brien. and also it's Jahan. She's back. I'm still gonna make that happen.
Jahan.
Yeah, Jahan's back. What was she in? Oh, she's in Underwater. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Is that Amy?
it's Jessica Henwick. Yeah. She.
Yeah. Yeah, that dude is great. Michael Rooker is fine. He shows up in Michael Rooker's, around about, I don't know, Michael Rooker's around 15, 20 minutes of the movie or so. You know what I mean.
Oh yeah,
He's doing his thing, being
he
cranky.
shows up in Rookers all over the place.
Yeah, exactly. But I know it feels like a YA book, but there's something wholly inspiring and wholesome and good about sort of in the message of Love and Monsters, and the story works out right, but it's not right for the reasons that you think it's going to be right for a while. And yeah, it had me swelling with tears and joy, which is not unusual for me. Like, I think Harlow mentioned this problem he's having, and I'm having it as well. Like, fucking everything moves me to tears.
Yep.
In the last year, I guess we're all just raw as shit. But yeah,
I'm definitely having that problem.
Yeah, it moved me. Everything worked really well. It reminded me so much of Monster Trucks. Like, the premise of this movie is really stupid. The CGI looks like it's not going to be all that great, but fucking hell, it's pretty good. Like, it's actually good.
One of the writers actually wrote Monster Trucks.
Well,
sense.
fuck yeah, man.
Makes sense.
Yeah. Monster Trucks is a YA novel made to film. I don't know if it actually is a young adult. Like, it's that same sort of thing. It's got all the mentality of a young adult novel made into film, but it works. It's fairly mature, and it's mature in the way it handles its resolution. Like, it just, I don't know. I'm going to stop talking about it because I feel like I kind of want some more time to process it a little bit more. I'll probably write a little letterbox review, but yeah, it worked really well, and that's why it's number 2 for me. It's very, very good. I wish I had seen it sooner.
You still saw it in time.
I did. I made it.
Speaking of watching something in time, my top of the list movie is something I watched 48 hours ago. If we had recorded this last week like we had planned, it wouldn't be on my list, and my list would be radically different. My top film of the year is The Trial of the Chicago 7. I don't know why I put off watching it. It's an Aaron Sorkin movie. I fucking love Aaron Sorkin. I don't know why I was thinking I should. I feel like every time an Aaron Sorkin movie comes out, I'm like, that's going to be the one that sucks. And, everyone who shits all over Aaron Sorkin on the internet is going to be right. And I'm going to feel bad. Nah, fuck all those people. This movie's great. I don't know if I like him as a director, which he has just started trying to do. Definitely still like him as a writer, though. His just the way he constructs dialogue is something that speaks to me. And
Well, that's how dialogue works. Yeah.
Fair point. The movie's great. It's I mean, it's a straight up courtroom movie. And at first I was like, well, this is not going to be as good as A Few Good Men, because that movie's fucking awesome. It's not as good as A Few Good Men, but it's still fucking awesome. It is as it goes on, it is just something that sucks you in. Like at first I was like, I don't know if I'm going to give a shit about this. But by the end I was like, I'm going to go back in time and protest with these people. I'm going to save them. It's really good. It's on Netflix. It's an easy watch because it's a dialogue driven movie.
Sounds like there's a lot of sitting and talking, which doesn't sound like an Aaron Sorkin kind of thing. I mean, you can't walk a lot in a courtroom. I mean,
you would be
attorneys
surprised.
can pace.
You can cover a lot of ground.
Yeah, there's a fair bit of walking.
Okay.
And some talking.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah, it's really good. It's made for Netflix, so go watch it. Now, if you're a person who's like, Sorkin's an idiot, then yeah, don't fucking watch it. But if you like any of the Sorkin things, you should watch this. It's strong.
I don't know what it is about like things that should immediately be something I want to watch and me not wanting to watch them, because like that's on the same level, and also Mank. I'm like, it's David Fincher and Gary Oldman and a David Fincher thing, and I'm like, I should be all over that. And it's about inside movie stuff. I should be behind that too. And I was just like, nah.
I watched that last night, and
No, it's not great. Okay.
But I'm the same way. Like for some reason, sometimes there are just things that come out, and I'm like, I'm just gonna put that in a secret little place, and then when I'm really need something, it'll be there. And I'm like, no, idiot, just watch the thing you love the second it comes out. Stop this. So I'm glad I got to see it in time. It is a terrific movie, and the acting is amazing.
So by the transitive property, Chuck, A Few Good Men is better than everything else that came out this year.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
That is true of many years.
I just wanted to A, interject that, and B, check to see that you intended it.
Joke.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
C, three things I wanted to do.
Okay. Okay. Good.
Let me come back in the room. Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition. All right. Yeah, I guess it's time for me. Yeah.
It is.
Since I didn't mention it and you said that I liked it, it shouldn't be a surprise. My number one is Love and Monsters. Yeah, that movie fucking came out of nowhere for me and hit me hard. Like it was so what I needed. Like 100%. Like I think Palm Springs is probably a much better thing. Like I can admit that, but like Love and Monsters was so much what I needed. Like it's just genuine in a way that's like you don't see in films hardly anymore. I mean, there's still people being snarky to each other, but it's never like actually true mean-spirited, really. Like it's just the banter that people do. It's
Right.
Yeah, it's never like, oh, that was actually nasty. Oh shit, I mean, there's bad characters. Otherwise, it would just be full of protagonists, and what fun is that? But yeah, it's just there's like the coolest dog in a movie I've seen in a long ass time. I think everyone in it is really good. It does start off a little too zombie-landish, where he's kind of narrating things a bit too much, but then when it like sort of finds its own voice and just gets going, I was like, yeah, this is so right. I mean, there's even like a weird hero's journey thing to it where it's it's almost got elements that remind me of like AI and stuff, where it's just like, hey, there's all this crazy shit going on, and traveling from place to place, and then there'll just be these like quiet, reflective moments in it that are really nice. Like I don't know, it's great. I loved it. So
Yeah, and it's a breezy, like, I don't know, hour, and I think the runtime's like an hour 45,
yeah,
but without credits it's like an hour 35 ish, because every movie has 10 minutes of credits now.
So the other guy who wrote it, not the Monster Trucks guy, but the other guy who wrote Underwater.
okay.
So
The podcast
all
is
over
eating
the list.
itself
Yeah.
now.
I mean,
Yeah. But yeah, that was my favorite movie.
Good deal. Well, everyone knows what my number one is, so I kind of want to hear BJ's first before I go.
Oh, well, why don't we just talk about them at the same time?
I guess we can.
Yeah, same time. On
Yeah.
three. One,
Oh,
2, 3. Palm Springs.
Yeah, Palm Springs.
oh no, you man, same time.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah, Palm Springs is fine. Number one movie
Yeah, it's
of the
pretty
year.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it 7 times.
I have
Now-
not seen it 7 times.
Yeah, it has become my comfort food movie. But I kind of want to hear. We haven't really talked about it much, so I want to kind of hear what you have to say, BJ.
No.
I mean, BJ hasn't talked about it. He and I have not discussed it. I see the look on Chuck's face.
I was
Chuck
gonna
said,
say,
"We
we
haven't
spent
talked about-"
2 episodes talking about
Listen, yeah,
I'm not downplaying
BJ
it.
and
It's just-
I have not had a conversation
Okay,
about it
you
yet.
just made it
so
sound
I
like,
would
hey, you
like
heard about
to
this?
hear what he has to say.
I don't know how to talk about how much I like this movie. And it's not like I'm not like going Baby Driver greatest of all time on Palm Springs. I really like it. It's definitely the best thing I watched this year, and that's not like I really like Love and Monsters. But it's kind of hard to talk about specifics. I mean, Andy Samberg is really good and really funny, and also not himself as much as he normally is. He's restrained from being like Lonely Island Andy Samberg, which is maybe it's not what other people expect out of him, but it's what my brain expects to see when he shows up on screen. Is like, all right, well, we're doing some real goofy shit, and while there is, there's some goofy shit in Palm Springs, it's not the like. It's not what I expected. It's a really, really good time loop movie. And I feel like it's been a long, long time since we've had a really, really good time loop movie. Like, it's Groundhog Day with Andy Samberg at a wedding, but it's also not. It's completely different. It's more, in some ways, more adult.
It makes it different because of the other characters that are stuck in the loop with him.
Right.
And that you start in the middle of the loop. He's been there decades by the
Right.
time you start the movie, and it's not like they get to skip all of the other stuff and
Yeah.
all the wait, what happened to me stuff. Like, I mean, there's some of it obviously because when
They cover it in about 3 minutes, about half an hour into the movie, something like that.
yeah, I mean, it's real smart because they can just skip all the bullshit and get to the story that they want to tell.
Right.
And they get a little bit of it in in Sarah when she's introduced to everything.
Right. They get she gets to play audience cipher for about 10 minutes, which is really nice. I mean, that's obviously the big difference is, you get multiple perspectives from within the time loop, but that really does change a lot about pregnant pause turned into a complete brain fart there.
Well, I feel it allows more metaphors to be pulled out of it.
Yes.
because it becomes this thing about relationships. Whereas, Groundhog Day is just about this guy improving himself and, having the perfect run at the end to get himself out of this whatever thing is, like this karmic thing. And I appreciate how hard they make fun of that in this one when that actually happens. And
Hmm.
it it lets the film develop as far as when you've got someone else stuck in this loop with you, it becomes almost a sequence of like how when you have that first love, literally nothing else in the world matters. Like, when you've just clicked with that person and you're like, I'm just going to take a vacation right now. I'm like going to take a week's vacation from work this weekend. I don't want it to end. I want to just keep going. And like, that's so much of what you get to experience with the two of them. And they have really fantastic chemistry. Like, even when I watched the commentary track um, this
Are
week, and
are they on the commentary track?
yes, they are, as well as the writer and the director, but they pop up at different points because it's they did Zoom things for it and all that.
Gotcha.
But it's usually it's Christina Milioti and or Kristen Milioti, sorry, and Andy Samberg talking, and they're just riffing off of each other. And the I believe it's the director said, like, when they first had the pitch meeting with the four of them, the writer and the director, they couldn't get a word in because the two of them were just because she and Andy were just talking constantly, and they had all these things, and they were like, they knew right then that, like, that everyone's going to buy these two together. And chemistry, it's not just about like people that get along, but it's also how the people don't get along. And I like that
Hmm.
the movie explores that as well. Like, when you really just want to say that one thing that is just going to fuck things up, but you're so pissed at that person that you're willing to say it. And
Hmm.
then they obviously follow the ramifications of that throughout, the rest of the movie. And it's just, it's made by people who cared so much about making the movie, and I think I feel that, and that's why I love it so much, because I feel like the editing and the music and everything that they chose was like absolutely meticulous about it. And especially the editing, like the editing of this movie is phenomenal. Like every bit of information comes at the right time, every montage goes the exact right length. And the soundtrack that they picked turns out like the Kate Bush song was picked by Andy Samberg. He's like, we should use this here. And when Leonard Cohen's The Partisan shows up, that was Kristen Milioti's suggestion, was that song at that point in the movie. So it's like, it feels like such a fantastic collaborative thing that you can just feel how much all these people enjoyed making this movie. And I feel like I get part of that every time I watch it. And, I feel so much that it spoke to me in that way. Like, you're lucky if you get a movie that clicks, like with your heart almost. And like this movie, I feel like it clicks with my soul. Like, like I feel like through my 20s and 30s, I was Niles. Like I was this person who was just like drifting and just didn't give a shit and was like, okay, next day, whatever, same thing. Like I let inertia just kind of take everything. And you also, when you don't have any meaningful relationships for a long time, you start to question things. And I feel like, and this is something that came up on the commentary track, where the two of these characters, neither, which I hadn't really thought about, but these two characters, neither of them has really felt like they've been loved by anyone for a very long time. And that love not only is like being attracted to and, you know, and enjoying being with someone, but allowing that person to enjoy being with you as well. And that it's easy to reject yourself and say, like, no, they're not going to want to be with me. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, look at me, I'm a goddamn mess. And, it's that both of these characters are that, and that they eventually are allowed to overcome these insecurities. But then they'll rear their heads at the worst possible time, which I can definitely associate with that pretty well too. But it's just, I talked about when it first came out. I've seen so much of myself in the Niles character, like in the ways of like trying to put off this air that I don't give a shit when I very, very deeply give a shit. And that is so much of what Niles is this guy who just is like built this shell, and there's only one character that's basically allowed to penetrate it, and then he fucks that up. So, it's just, it's, I could go on and on talking about it.
I can tell.
Yeah.
Not that I'm trying to like
No, I know.
make you shut up. I can just tell the passion that you have for it, like how much you really.
Yeah, it's
really
one of those
enjoy it.
movies that it's at the point where I feel like if someone says, "Oh, what movies do you like?" Like if someone said, "What's your movie aesthetic?" or whatever, I'd be like, "Watch Palm Springs." It's almost like it's that and Out of Sight. Like that's how high up on my list it is. And then it's like, all right,
That's high
and then,
praise indeed.
yeah, and then I'd probably pick like Baby Driver or something just after that.
Right.
But it's like way like super high on the list of like this movie is me. If you wanted to categorize my movie watching, I would be like, just watch Palm Springs. If you get what that's about, then you'll probably get movies I like. And if you hate it, then it's like, I guess we're not friends, whatever. Sorry. Not going to work out.
I mean, that's fair.
Yeah.
I've ended friendships over less. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of like, not to take too much longer on Palm Springs, but there's a lot of dealing with feeling trapped, feeling trapped, regret, like that constant dealing with loss, like basically reliving the same trauma again and again and again and again. Like Sarah's day is completely different. We learn way more about Sarah's day later in the movie, and that I can't really relate to that, but that was really impactful for me, and that's one of the things that struck me is like really intense is waking up every day going, oh fuck, like
Yeah.
every day is a mistake. Every day is a mistake. And how long, like, I know she wasn't in the loop as long as he was, but long enough that that sort of trauma eats and eats and eats and eats at you, or I guess it's trauma. But also Niles, like waking up every day knowing that the position that he's in is the position that he's in regards to his relationship, like,
And being afraid to leave it too.
yeah,
Becoming comfortable with it.
yeah, learning how to deal with like, to sort of like not only compartmentalize your trauma or your sadness, but also just like become happy in it because it's the devil, and those are some pretty strong moving themes that they really nailed without trying too hard.
Yeah. Well, they mentioned in the commentary how they get really serious, but then they'd always try to undercut it with some kind of joke,
Yeah, absolutely.
and never let it get too far, I guess. And it turns out J.K. Simmons' character was added like last. He almost wasn't even in the movie.
Really?
Yeah, which means you lose the whole speech about finding your Anaheim, like, which is kind of like almost the emotional crux of the movie, is this conversation between these two guys who, basically hate each other at this point, but yeah.
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 And
But and we've talked about all this deep, heady, emotional stuff with it, but that movie's funny as fuck. Too.
it's funny as hell.
Like them just huddling in a shower going, we are the shit while they're high on mushrooms, just like the whole I used to be a bomb guy scene, just all that shit is just like absolutely hilarious.
The different way, like when they're going through their sort of team up montage, their falling in love montage, there is just some absolute dynamite stuff in there, and I don't want to, like, as far as comedy goes, that I just don't want to spoil for anybody. I just want you to experience it. One thing that I did not expect was to be questioning things after I finished watching that film. Like Tenet, which I mentioned earlier, like which is from the heady, cerebral, you know, cool guy Christopher Nolan. Like
Mhm.
I stopped thinking about that like 45 minutes after I was done. The only thing I thought about
Yeah.
was the question that I posed earlier, which is, am I too dumb to not get this movie? But I keep thinking about Palm Springs. I keep thinking about a few things. There are two things that I won't mention, but if you've seen the movie, there are two things that are left really unanswered. I feel like, and they're subtle, so
Mhm.
you'll miss them if you're not careful. But uh, those two things I keep thinking about,
Yeah.
and
And those are things to actually think about. Unlike, hey, what happened to J.K. Simmons? It's like, just
yeah,
watch 15 seconds of credits and they will tell you,
right,
you know.
yeah.
But apparently, a lot of people can't even sit through that. But hey,
Well,
yeah,
we should all be used to watching things during and after the credits by now. But yeah, Palm Springs is really good, and
yeah. I know we've had a lot of caveats about 2020. We're like, yeah, well, any other year this would be on the list. Like any year, this movie would be on my list.
it would absolutely be in my
Absolutely.
top five.
Yeah.
Is that it? Are we done?
Yeah. So hopefully 2021 has, I don't have to resort to documentaries and TV shows being in my top five, but you know, we'll see.
It'll be
I'm
interesting because the movies that are coming out in 2021 are movies that were supposed to come out in 2020. Most of the stuff that should have been in production is not, and we're going to have a glut at some point of just nothing.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
gonna
I
and
mean, I don't know. There a lot of people have gone to Australia and stuff to shoot now.
Sure.
So
Tom Cruise
Yeah.
rented a big boat and made everyone live on it, and then
Yeah.
yelled at them when they tried to get off.
well, and HBO putting big stuff out, WB shows on HBO Max, so that should be interesting.
Well,
You
that's the
know,
thing. We're going to have a lot of releases this year, but 2022 might be a little dull.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we've got stuff saved up this year, so could be interesting. I'm not promising 2021 movies in 2021.
No, that would be. Don't overpromise.
No, no.
I mean, are we going
I'm
to
gonna
live to see 2022?
exactly.
hey, you might, you got the vaccine. You're,
We don't know if that works yet.
yeah,
I haven't gone out and licked any doorknobs.
we'll get on it.
don't.
I
Yeah.
should.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Prove your
at-
superpowers. Come on, let's go.
At
What
this
good
point,
is
the
it?
vaccine's just like insurance. It's like, okay, if my car hits somebody, it'll be
Yeah.
paid for, but I'm not going
Right.
to go ram somebody because I have insurance.
Right. I
But
booked a
yeah,
cruise for
like-
2022, so I intend to attempt to live so that my deposit is not in vain.
In
God,
vain,
that
did you
sounds
say?
good.
No, in vain, vain.
That's not what I heard.
Well, and I'll say I feel weird too in that, I had those 3 months of unemployment where I was basically home, but once I found a job, I had to go to that job. I had to be on site for it. So I feel like all the streaming stuff kind of got backloaded into the end of the year. So the things I watched in the beginning of the year were like Spencer Confidential, and then it was like Raw Deal, and just all these old things that we found were like, yeah, man, this is on streaming, check it, and I feel like I missed out on a lot of the 2021 stuff or 2020 stuff later in the year because I just wasn't able to get to it. And then, the choices I did make were like Artemis Fowl and Wonder Woman 84. And it was like, man, damn it.
Artemis Fowl sucks.
Did you watch it all the way through?
No, I got 17 minutes in and I was like, there is no way another second of this movie can redeem
Did you
the
get
nothingness
too-
that happens.
Did you get too drunk trying to drink every time they said Artemis?
Maybe. I don't know. I just
Yeah.
the least interesting one of those movies I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it doesn't get better. There are like literally 3 locations. Like they're in that house for basically the rest of the movie.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's fucking bad. even on levels of like, okay, they just didn't execute it well or whatever. It's like, this is your script. Like, this
Yeah.
is, you don't have a third act. What the fuck are you doing?
Great.
This is supposed to launch your thing. You know, I feel bad for people that love the book because
The only good thing that I can say about movies in 2020 is that at the very least, we don't have to hear about movies that tanked at the box office. Like,
Yeah.
because Artemis Fowl did what it was supposed to do as a bad movie, which is immediately drop off the face of the earth and no one talked about it again.
I forgot about it existed until I looked at my letterbox list and I
Right.
saw it at the very end.
But if that movie had come out in theaters and been the shit show that it was and made $12, we would have, for 6 months, there would have been discourse about how Disney sucks and how they're just soulless and that they can't make a movie. And, you know, just like, so I'm happy for that. I'm happy that while Wonder Woman 84 was middling, at least we don't have to hear about its fucking box office numbers. At least there's no one like, well, women can't carry a movie, blah, blah, blah. You know, none of that.
There's still people talking about it.
No, I know, but it's not the fucking trades aren't talking about it. You know, it's not every article
Yeah.
in Variety or, you know, it's just like, yeah, that's on streaming. Some people watched it, but there's no way to know how many because they're the gatekeepers of the numbers.
Yeah.
So that's like the one thing I'm happy about is that, you know, at least the box office bullshit that no one should ever talk about anyway has been removed from the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to go to a theater again. It's literally been over a year at this point since I've been to one. And yeah, I saw one in the theater in 2020, and that was Rise of Skywalker. I saw it on January 1st, 2020. And that was the last movie I saw in the theater. So
Harlow and I were going to go see Bad Boys and do an extra on it, but then something came up and we
Yeah.
didn't go.
I saw
COVID?
I saw Birds of Prey. I think that was the last thing I saw in a theater.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't go to the theater at all.
Well, a friend of mine did for his birthday. He rented out a theater. I think I mentioned that. He rented out a theater. I think it was in May, early May.
When we reopened, when everything was fine again.
Yeah, it was one of those. There were like, it's a 40-person theater, and there were 8 of us. So like we were all spread out really well, and it was.
What'd you guys watch?
It was a situation I was comfortable with. Like we could wear our masks and sit down. We watched The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and holy shit, was it
Oh,
the loudest
fuck,
thing
dude.
I have ever seen.
Oh my God.
I thought maybe someone just like brought their tape of Boner Jams or something.
Yeah, they did bring their tape of Boner Jams, but for them, Boner Jams was The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
I mean, that's what,
Yeah.
depending on the
But-
day, that's what I call my boner.
But God, dude, like just seeing that, just that ecstasy of gold scene by the end had to be just like ear splitting.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've never heard a movie louder in my entire life. It was. Sorry, the motorcycle driving through my living room again. It was so ear-splittingly loud, but it really was awesome.
Yeah.
And I think it was a Blu-ray release from a few years ago that we watched, because they're like, yeah, you can watch whatever you want. You just have to bring your own disc if you're gonna watch something that we don't have right now.
Yeah.
So
and I'm pretty sure that one,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that doesn't have a 4K around right now.
There's one coming out this week, I think, or next. I know there's
yeah.
one up. I saw a listing for it, so
Is it the trilogy or just that?
just that they're individual. Got to milk that money.
Oh,
it
man.
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't a 4K definitely, but it still looked so good, even on a 30-foot screen or whatever, because it was a smaller theater, it wasn't the
Yeah.
main theater, but it looked really, really good.
I would think that they probably have some digital signal processors running into the
Yeah.
projector and
Yeah.
it probably clean up
Upscalers.
whatever. Yeah,
Yeah.
like not the cheap shit like we buy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah, it looked amazing. So that's the only. I mean, I think I saw something maybe in January. When did Rise of Skywalker come out?
December.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Christmas. I think I saw it before the end of the year, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I may have seen something else that I don't remember in January, but that's the only thing. I mean, good thing to see in the theater, but you know,
Yeah, I think I saw that, and I think I saw Knives Out like 2 days earlier, something
Yeah.
like that. So
um,
yeah,
the really cool thing about being able to actually go see a movie is that the local indie theater has started up a drive-in. So there's going to be a semi-permanent drive-in here in town again, which is
It's
awesome.
actually permanent. They bought the land, I think. So
I know they bought the land, but I didn't know if it was going to be a permanent sort of drive-in theater thing.
it'll be permanent until people stop going.
Right. So until August of this year.
Right.
have you been to any?
I have not. I
Okay.
have not. It's right down the fucking street from my house. I could ride
Yeah.
my bike there, but I never know. I'm not paying close enough attention to know when they're doing it. But now that they're going to be doing it all the time, I'll probably go to a couple and I'll report
Yeah,
back.
I'm curious about the visibility of the screen and that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, as am I. I will let you know.
Awesome, man. 2021.
Nowhere to
We're
go
already-
but up.
We're already an 11th of the way through.
Yeah.
Well, 11 months left. A 12th
Yeah.
of the way through. Yeah. Somehow.
We'll
So-
get through it like we got through this year together.
Yeah.
Apart.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what streaming becomes, because this is not going away. You know, I mean, they're saying like they'll have doses of vaccine by summer. Everyone should be able to, but I don't believe it. I really don't think it's going to be at that point. And there's so many people that won't take the vaccine just on principle that
Hey,
Yeah.
we get to
that,
deal with
that
them.
I think that might fuck up things worse than distribution.
It's only gonna fuck it up for them.
Yeah, if
I
everybody
mean,
else gets
seriously,
it,
yeah.
they're
Yeah.
yeah. Let them get the Rona next year too. Eat shit.
I like
If it
it.
don't kill you this year, it'll kill you next year.
I like it. Big fan.
Me too.
Big fan of killing off anti-vaxxers.
I mean, they're big fans of killing themselves off too. So,
True.
and their children. Do you like dead kids? Then don't vaccinate them.
That's words to live by or die by. I don't know. Anyway.
How about some contact information?
Yeah, let's do it.
On
Oh,
that
sure.
note,
You can contact us at cdc.gov. Or if you actually want to contact us, go to bmfcast.com. That's our website. It's where we have all the stuff. If you want to email us, the email address is bmf@bmf. The email address is bmf@bmfcast.com. If you want to call us on the Garfield phone and leave your opinion on what your golden jocks were, give us a call, 9105-JOCKS-BMF or 910-556-9263. And also, the most important thing you could ever do, which is give us a bunch of money. Patreon.com/BMFcast. That is our Patreon account. I'm just trying to talk too fast. If you don't know what Patreon is, it's where you give us some money every month, and in return, we give you something. You can give us a little money, and we'll give you a lot of content, or you can give us a little more money, and we'll give you even more content. Exciting announcement. We have a new show for
Yes.
the $3 tier on Patreon.
what?
It is called,
Not all X-Men.
that's it.
Yes. Where Chuck and I read an X-Men comic and talk about it. Because it takes about the least prep that you can have for a show. So
Yeah.
we're going to try and sneak in as many as we can here and there, because it's
We needed a little tiny prep show.
yeah.
Just like, hey, you want to do something? Okay. All right, I'm ready. Are you?
Yeah, we can be ready to go in like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
How many
That's-
issues do you have to read before it stops G. Willikers gosh gollying all over the place?
About 65
Cool.
episodes.
Cool.
Yeah. Then again, I don't know. I don't know when Stan Lee stops and other writers start, but like after the 50s probably. So yeah, it might be 50 episodes, somewhere in there. Either way, but it won't always be X-Men stuff, but right now that's what it's going to be. So starting from the 60s.
Wait, you plan to do like a reading order thing? Like, so you're going to finish in like 20, 50, 60, somewhere around there? Yeah.
Give or take.
Okay, cool.
How many episodes are you guys trying to crank out a week?
Half a week. It's not a
Half an
regular
episode
schedule.
a week. Okay.
It's not a regular schedule yet.
It's just like, should we do one of these? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a little bit of a fill in because Who You has been on hiatus for a bit, so wanted to keep
Hiatus.
things. Yeah. Yes, there it is. Wanted to keep things flowing. So
Right
so
on.
that your Patreon
Thanks.
shekels will make it work.
Wanted to make sure the
Right on.
value for the content
Didn't drop.
right.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So I don't know.
That's
People
awesome.
seem really stoked about 60s X-Men comics.
A lot of people were really enjoyed the episode. So
It was weird. It was like, oh my God, I've waited years for you to do this. We're like, what? Why? Also, why didn't you say something?
I don't know. It's a pretty good episode if I say so myself.
Yeah, it's not bad.
It's a good comic to have some riffs on for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yep. Lots of
Right on.
exclamation points. Thanks, Stanley.
Marvel Girl, you're Jeeper Keen.
Yep. Yes, Iceman says "Yaybo."
Yaybo.
Was, one of his exclamations in the episode. So
Okay.
we don't know what it means either.
Nope.
The world may never know.
We're gonna
But
keep
if
you
reading
wanna
until they
find-
tell us.
Yes, with Stan Lee's untimely death, we will never find out.
Yes.
But if you want to hear that episode and the more that shall surely follow it, go to patreon.com/BMFcast and subscribe at the $3 tier or higher, and you will get that. Yeah. And as always, we are available for custom sellout for many thousands of dollars. We will do varying degrees of whatever you want.
Yes, if you sold your GameStop stock this week, and you're suddenly sitting on thousands and thousands of dollars, we will take some of it off your hands if you so desire.
Yep.
And we will do, with quite strict limits, anything you want.
Yeah.
Sure.
With quite strict limits, anything you want.
Anything?
Anything. With quite strict limits.
Okay.
Email us for details. bmf@bmfcast.com.
Yeah.
All right.
I'd say the limits go away at six figures.
Mm.
That's where we start going, hey, you know what? There are no limits.
Yeah.
Most of the limits go away at six figures. I am a
Okay.
principled man.
Okay, seven figures. The limits go
Oh,
away.
no limits.
Yes, thank you. There it is. We finally found BJ's point.
Yeah. Check yourself into the golden corral of butt stuff if you want to.
For $1 million, whatever.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Seems like a
It
very
worked an indecent proposal.
Yeah, I was gonna say
so,
it seems like a very
everything
decent
turned
proposal
out
to
great
me.
in that movie. So I can't see what would go wrong.
Yeah, it's,
Yeah, it worked out great in that.
I fell
movie.
asleep in the beginning. It seemed like it worked out well.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone was fine by the end of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Woody got
Everything
to quit
went-
his job at the bar.
Yeah.
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 The Flying Elvises came in.
Right,
It was really.
yeah. That was good.
Yeah, I remember it well.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's good stuff.
Anyway,
Yeah, let's
I
get
think
out of
we
here,
should-
shall
I
we?
think-
Yes.
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 Please.
I am Harlow.
I'm Mackie.
I'm BJ,
I'm Chuck.
and this is BMFcast Variety Hour out. You just like the sauce I
Variety
put on
Hour.
that one.
He did.
Oh my God.
Now I'm really jealous that you got to see Good, the Bad, and the Ugly in a theater, even if
It
it was
was-
a projected Blu-ray.
You can just sit
Dude,
really close
it-
to your TV and
Yeah.
pretend.
I mean, it looked really, really good. It might as well have been on film, you know.
Yeah.
Really, the best thing though was I've never heard that music that loud,
Yeah.
and there was no escaping it. Like even there was a point where I was like, okay, this might be too much, and I put my fingers in my ears, and it was just still just as piercingly loud because those they're just quite piercing notes. Yeah, it was great. I loved it. I was really happy that he decided to do that. He's got weird taste sometimes, so I was unsure of what we were going to watch, but 31,
horror movies.
episode 31.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I should hit stop.
Oh right.
31 Bamcast Variety Hours in 31 days.
Yeah.
Let's not do that.
Oh, come on. It's real easy.
I mean, sure.
We can just play a trailer and talk over it. It's real easy.
Oh man, do those internet things, man. Go click, 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 click. Real easy, man.
All right. Send me files, everybody.
Oh,
I
do.
shall. I am deleting a file so that I have space to send you a file.
That sounds amazing.
It is.
Cool. Toodles, gentlemen.
Bye.
night.
Bye, live stream.
Bye.
Bye, live stream.
Oh, bye, live stream.
Bye, Kyle.